Welcome to Unturned. My name is Ntech. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be remaking my Unturned 2.0 survival guide for Unturned 3.0 or 4.0, whatever it's going to be called when it's finalized. Now, given the fact that Unturned 3.0 is not completely done yet, what I thought we could do is have a survival series where we walk through various aspects of the game. So this first video is going to be much like my Unturned 2.0 survival video, where we talk about the basics of starting out and give you tips and walk you through how to survive in this awesome world when you first come into the game. Now, first and foremost, the first thing you're going to need to know is how to actually get into a game. Let's talk about the menu. So we have the play button, we have survivors, configuration, which is your options, and then the workshop. We're not going to talk about workshop. Today what we're going to talk about is the play and survivors area. So you can go into configuration and you can edit different things and change your resolution and turn different things on or decrease your options here to give you better performance in game, which it might be important if you have a low-end computer. But what you might want to do first and foremost is create a character, and to do that you just go into your appearance area and you can change the face and you can make them look a certain way, give them different hair, just do different things and make them look totally different. So if you want to have a unique look, this is where you do that. Now, once you've created your character, you're going to have to ask yourself an important question. Do you want to play single player, or do you want to play multiplayer? Single player will give you the ability to play by yourself. You can control the map, you can build a massive base, no one's going to wreck it because you're going to be the only one on the server unless the zombies do, of course. You're going to be able to have all the items, all the guns, it's all going to be your stuff, and you can learn the game by yourself, learn the mechanics as you play. Or you could play multiplayer. Now, if you play multiplayer, keep in mind that you're going to be with other people, and there's also PvE and PvP. PvE is indicated by the peace sign here, player versus the environment. Player versus player is PvP, which is indicated by the bullet sign here. Now, to get this up, what you're going to do is click down here. This is your map selection. You're going to probably have PEI only when you start out, and so then all you got to do is click refresh WAN, and it's going to generate a list of servers. And then to join a server, you just double click on it and join it. So if you join a PvE server, you're probably going to have people who are going to play with you, help you out. Maybe you can form a team and you can build stuff together. If you join a PvP server, people are probably going to try to kill you. So what I recommend doing actually when you first start out is playing single player. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our series in a single player map on PEI. So let's go ahead and click play. You can also change the difficulty here if you want to, and I'm just going to keep it on normal. And let's go ahead and click play and join the game, and then I'm going to explain some things about the game once we get in. So when you first spawn into the game, the first thing you're going to notice is that you're somewhere along a beach somewhere, some random location, and to find out where you are, you can actually hit M to bring up your map, and you can see that I'm currently near Confederation Bridge and Alberton, which are two very good locations. Now, let's go ahead and explain this inventory area so that you can understand what this looks like first, and then we'll move into some other aspects of like basically starting out. So you have your map here, your information, which tells you where you are, and you can zoom in and you can zoom out by hitting the zoom in and zoom out keys down here. You can see the player list here on the side, and then you have your skills, which we'll cover here in a second, and then also crafting and inventory. If you hit inventory, this is where you're going to find, you know, picture of your guy, what he's wearing, and then also like you'll have your primary weapon down here in the bottom left hand corner, your secondary weapon next to that, so you can have like a machine gun and then like a pistol or melee or something, and then this up here is what you have that you can carry in your hands. And so things take item spaces, and you have X amount of spaces starting out. Now you can get like vests, you can get pants, you can get backpacks, which is one of the biggest things you want to try to find, and this will all expand your inventory space, and then you can put various items into those and you have more space to hold things. So the next thing we'll talk about is crafting. Crafting in and of itself is one of the biggest aspects of the game and will take a very long time to explain. So what I'll do is I'll talk about crafting in another video in and of itself, but as we go along we'll craft various items and you can see how basic and easy it is to do it. You just have to have different items in order to craft various things, and then once you get an item, a blueprint might appear and tell you what else you need. Your skills area is very, very important, which we'll talk about here in a second. So first and foremost, let's talk about the bottom left-hand corner here. You have your health, you have your hunger, you have your thirst, you have your disease or toxicity, radiation, whatever you want to call it, and then you have your stamina. Now let's go ahead and start with stamina because it's probably the easiest thing to talk about. Stamina is your energy. As you do different acts in game, your stamina will go down, and you can increase essentially the rate in which stamina regens, or how much stamina you actually use to do various tasks. But as you walk, you can see that you don't take any stamina. But if you start to run by holding shift, it starts to go down. Or if I jump, I lose 10% at a time. And so that will go down with time, and if it gets all the way down, you can no longer run, you can't really jump, and so you really have to watch your stamina, especially if you're in a situation where you need to like jump off a bridge or something like that, if zombies are chasing you. Stamina can be regained by just sitting here and waiting for it to regen back, or without doing anything that takes your stamina. So if you're running and then you just start walking, it will regen over time. The next thing is your disease. You're in the green bar there. The green bar, your disease, essentially is what goes down over time if you get hit by zombies, if you consume raw food, bad quality of food, that will go down. And if that gets all the way down to 0, you will start to die. And you can essentially get your disease back by consuming various things, such as like vitamins, that will increase that back up to 100%, and then you won't die as a result of that being completely depleted. Then you have your thirst and your hunger. These two things will go down over time, and this will be your biggest enemy in game next to the zombies, because you'll have to eat and drink a lot to make sure you don't die from starvation or dehydration. And so you have to find food, you have to find drink, you can get a canteen and fill it up, and those various things are scattered about all over the world. And if he puts in, I don't know actually if canteens are in yet, I think so. Like I said, Unturned 3.0 is not completed yet, and so there's no animals to kill and then cook their meat yet, and so that might be added in the future. And if that is essentially, you see a deer, you kill it, then you take the meat from it and you can cook it on a fire, and then you can have cooked meat. So if you eat the raw food, that is when that green bar is going to go down. And then you have your health, which will go down when you get hit or get shot or get take fall damage or something like that, and that can be healed via like bandages and rags and things like that, which we'll cover as we go along because it's very important. I'll kind of give you some tips and tricks to help you out as you first start. This is your skills menu. The skills menu, indicated here by this arrow, is very important because this will give you an advantage in game. And there are 3 different things that you can currently do: offense, defense, and then support. And there are various skills in each category. These skills can be increased via experience. I think currently all the zombies except for the mega zombies have the same base experience. I think it's two experience. You get 2 experience or 1 experience, depending on if you're gold or not, I think. And that might change in time. Like in 2.0, there are varying levels of experience you can gain. Like I think civilian zombies were 1, and then there were the military zombies give you 4, and so you can get various experience gains. And like I think currently it's all 2. And then the mega zombie is 32 experience. So that might change, but that's what you have to do to gain experience to increase these skills. So you can see on the side here, it says how much you need in order to increase the skill level by 1. So you can see it says 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 20, and then you have various different things here, and then under your support you have a couple 20s. Now, down here you can see the experience that I've gained, or you could do a random boost, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to try to focus on certain things. And then in the various categories you have skills in and of itself. So let's go ahead and walk through these. Overkill, which is punch and melee with greater force. So doing melee damage will be increased if you increase overkill. Sharpshooter stabilizes recoil and increases accuracy. Some guns in game have a ton of recoil, and as you use a gun, you will actually lower the durability on it, which will decrease accuracy, so I believe that this helps in that regard. And then you can repair the gun too, which we'll talk about later. Dexterity is faster reloading. Cardio is regenerate stamina and oxygen faster. This is a very important one in my opinion. Exercise, use less stamina, more important than cardio, because you don't want to use a ton of stamina in everything you do. I usually generally increase this one first because this will help you a lot as you run around and are running away from zombies. Diving, use less oxygen and swim faster. You can actually dive under the water now in 3.0. In 2.0 you couldn't do that. Parkour, move faster and jump higher. Another very important one that I suggest that people get. Actually, I'll go ahead and get that right now. Then you have Sneaky Beaky. Move quietly and alert less zombies when crouched or prone. I don't know what essentially the percentage or rating is of how much you have to increase this in order to not be detected as much, because currently when you first start out in the game, like, you're going to be detected by everything, no matter if you're crouching or proning at all. I think this will play a huge importance once you increase it a lot, but currently it doesn't really get you that far when you first start out, I don't think. Vitality is a very important one as well, because you lose food and water more slowly, regenerate health with near food and water faster. This is very important because you don't want to lose food and water that quickly. You want to lose it slow as you can. So there's a couple that I try to focus on right away. Immunity to bacteria, zombies, and hallucinations. Another one that's important, but I don't necessarily do this that often. Toughness, less flinching and pain effects. Again, this is personal preference. For me, strength, slower bleeding, and fall damage, healed more quickly. I think this one's pretty important. Warm-blooded. This takes us into a whole new category of the game, because on certain maps, this map PEI doesn't have anything, I don't believe, that will give you like cold damage, but on certain maps there will be high mountains where it will snow and the cold can actually damage you. So warm-blooded is important, so you don't take cold damage as often or at all. And if you don't have this skill, you're going to need to have a full set of clothes to not take cold damage. And then we have the support. Actually, maybe it's 2/3 or something. I can't remember what you actually need to have, but you need to have clothes in order to not take damage. Healing. Use healing items more efficiently. So the support is a newer thing because there's a couple different things in here that actually aren't even in the game yet. Crafting. Think up more complex blueprints for building. This is something very important because this will allow you to build different tiers of items. Outdoors. Chop down trees faster. Cooking, prepare high-quality food, which is very important now. Fishing, catch fish more efficiently. This currently isn't in-game, but it probably will be, obviously, because there's a skill for it. Agriculture, harvest crops and plants more efficiently. Mechanic, maintain vehicles more efficiently. So there's a lot of different things for the support class that are important. I like to focus on the building one because that's what I do for my team usually. So with those things being covered, let's go ahead and move into the next aspect of the game, which is essentially traveling through a town and surviving, gathering loot, and getting items and establishing ourselves and making a base. So the first thing you want to do when you come into the game is obviously figure out where you're at. Establish your presence on the map. So you can see them by Confederation Bridge and Albertson. Let's take this opportunity to talk about the various areas on PEI that are important to visit. The military base, biggest place because this has military grade loot, which is very important. Confederation Bridge also has a chance for military loot. Alberton's a great place to find like food and stuff. Stratford as well. O'Leary Prison, I don't know what the loot chances are there, but I think you might be able to find some militia or military items there. Belfast Airport, you can also find some military stuff. Montague, if there's a military spawn there in 3.0, I'm not entirely sure, but in 2.0 there was a spawn there where you can find some, I think actually it was militia loot. Alberton also has a ship that's very important. Holman Island has a bunker, which is good for like guns and stuff. And then there's a couple farms for wells and drinks. Charlottetown's also good for civilian loot. And then there's a couple different campgrounds and islands around. So what I'm going to do first is actually travel to Confederation Bridge and then to the military base to try to get some military grade loot, some weapons, and some backpacks. So let's go over here. So this is Confederation Bridge right here, which actually, if you walk down the other side of the Confederation Bridge, you'll get an achievement too, which is kind of cool. But the first thing to note is that there are zombies over here. Crouch is X and prone is Z. And then to get back up, just hit X again twice and you'll stand up. So what I'm going to do instead is I would recommend just running through the various areas, but don't start running until you've attracted zombies because you don't want to use up your stamina. So first and foremost, you can see we have some vitamins, which are good for if we get disease. Now keep in mind too that, remember, we only have so much inventory space, so we can't just take all kinds of different stuff. Tablets. Okay, dressing, very important. This will heal you. If you take damage, that will help you to recover, will help you to stop bleeding, and it's very, very important. So what we want to do is hot bar this. And to do that, what we're going to do is, so consider this your primary, which is 1, secondary is 2, and we're going to have 3 in our hot bar, which we can hit the 3 button and it will bring this up. So let's go ahead and right click, hit 3, and now you can see that's got a 3 next to it. That means that this is essentially hotbarred to number 3. So if we hit 3, you can see it bring it up. And so you're going to want to probably do that so you can hurry up and heal on the run if you need to. Get to a safe spot before you actually start to do that, I would recommend. So I'm going to run to this tent. You can see that there's zombies all over the place. Now if we come up here, you can see that I aggroed this zombie. Now you could punch zombies, and the best way to do that is to punch and back up, and so that way you don't take any damage when you get hit. So you don't get hit, I should say. And they will only go so far, because they have a radius currently in which they can only move to, and then they'll stop. Now, this might change where they'll follow you for a long time, but currently that's what it is. Now, some zombies will drop items, so make sure you're looking for items as well. So the best way to start out until you get a melee weapon is to punch and back up, and practice doing that until you get good at taking out zombies, and then that way you can get some experience, and you can increase like your overkill, which is very important for melee, which is probably what you're going to do when you first start out in the game unless you find a gun. So we're going to move into this tent, and zombies aren't aggroing, which is interesting. Military magazine, take that because that's going to be used for some really nice guns. Okay, here we go. We have our first melee weapon, which is a military knife, and this will be good for shanking zombies and killing zombies. You can see it's down here in slot number 2, which is my secondary. We have some sandbags, which I don't need, and we have a military vest, which is very, very important. So if we hit F, we will auto-equip something that we're not currently wearing. So since I didn't have a vest on, I auto-equipped it. And now you can see that I have more inventory space as a result because I can carry some things in the military vest, which is kind of cool. Now, the next thing what I want to talk about is actually the various different types of melee attacks, because we have the regular attack here, which is done by just left clicking. And then we also have a power attack, which takes stamina, which is done by right clicking. And when you do that, you actually do more damage, so that's kind of an important thing. But keep in mind, you do take stamina when you do a power attack. I don't like doing power attacks with these smaller weapons because it's not as easy to hit things, in my opinion. But when there's like things with better reach in game, that's when I'll probably do a lot more power swinging, like if there's a sledgehammer or a katana or something like that. Now I'm just kind of making my way through here and killing these zombies and not trying to take damage if I don't have to. Now there might be zombies hiding all over the place, so keep that in mind. So here we go, military top. Military tops are great because it'll give you, I believe it gives you additional protection. It did in 2.0, but maybe not in 3.0 yet. Military bottoms. Now here we go. Here's our first gun. This is a maple strike, common rifle that you'll find in game. We have it down here in slot number 1. If we hit 1, you can see now that we have maple strike equipped, and there's a couple different things that we need to know about this. We have an automatic fire, which is set by default. If we hit V, we can put the safety on. Hit V again, and we can go to semi, which is what I like to use. I like to use semi-automatic firing because that way it can be a little bit more accurate. If we hold right mouse button, we'll aim down sights, and we have our iron sights currently equipped. And if we hit T, this will bring us up to our attachments window. As you can see, we have a barrel attachment, tactical attachment, grip, our magazine down here, and our sight. Now, given the fact that I don't have any of these different attachments, it's just stock. Keep in mind, too, is that you have a degradation, like I was talking about. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see it says it's got a green bar. This color will change, and as this degrades and changes, we will actually have to repair it, or else we're going to have like accuracy issues. So there's something right here. Military suppressor, perfect. So if we hit T, you can now see that up here on my barrel attachment, I have the ability to have a military suppressor. So if I click this, it's going to put a suppressor on there, which is perfect. This is like absolutely perfect because now it's going to be silent and they're not going to know. The other zombies around aren't going to be alerted to my shots. And you can see I can just kill these zombies very easily, and not have to worry about aggroing a bunch of them. Keep in mind, though, that I'm also using ammo. So you can see down there in the bottom right-hand corner, I now have 5 out of 30, and I started with 10. And so you will use ammo, so that's very important to keep in mind that you will lose ammo when you shoot, and then once you're out of ammo, you need to get a military crate to refill your mag, or get more mags. So given the fact that I have another mag, if I hold down T, you can see that I have a secondary mag full of 30, and now I have 30 out of 30. So this is actually working out pretty well for me. So you can see that currently it's still green, but I have it has started to degrade. So just shooting 5 shots has lowered the quality of this gun down to 80%. Now, to repair this to 100%, the way that we would do that is to get scrap metal, blowtorch, and then all of those 3 things combined, we can actually repair it. Which this is why crafting is very important, but it's also very in depth, and we'll talk about that later. And then also under the ammo thing, now you can see that we could fill up a mag if we had a military ammunition crate, and we can actually fill a mag that way, or there's various other things that we can do. And so crafting is very important. It's very in depth, and you know, it's just something that we'll have to talk about as we go along. Now, I think that this video is pretty chock full of information, and so I'm going to go ahead and call it for the video right there. But before we go, there's something else you should know. To essentially auto-equip something very quickly, instead of having to right-click on something and then hit equip. Oh, we got a zombie coming. I didn't know that was going to attract him. Instead of right-clicking and then hitting equip here, we can actually hold control and hit right-click, and it will auto-equip something for us. And so, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it for the video right there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this footage. Check back later in the week for part 2, which will continue to talk about various aspects of the game as we go along. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button, thumbs up if you like the video, and I'll see you guys next time.